Hello, and welcome to the final strategy in the panacea that we have long waited for, alchemical transformation.
Yes, in this final panacea strategy number 7, we will explore how the alchemical transformation of genetic recoding will unlock your full potential to achieve your soul's purpose and destiny. Unlocking your authentic purpose and potential is the outcome of this healing strategy. The alchemical transformation is an everlasting state of consciousness, and it all starts with the marriage of the opposites within. Although alchemy is commonly referred to as the chemical process of turning base metals into gold, it also symbolizes the three archetypal trinity of the mind, body, and soul. Although these are not chemicals, it refers to our mental, physical, and spiritual elements. Alchemy was in fact dedicated to transforming the lead of self into the gold of spirit, writes Dennis William Hawk in the Emerald Tablet, Alchemy for Personal Transformation. We reach alchemy through a magical power or process of transmuting a common substance, usually of little value, into a substance of great value.
And here we discuss the alchemical transformation of the mind, body, and soul from personal tragedy to triumph, from victim to victor, self-limitation to self-mastery and actualization. If there is any way to sum up the entire self-mastery process, it's this. As humans, we are ultimately self-determining, meaning we choose our own destiny and what we become. Although this may be a life's pursuit, we can choose to live consciously and face ourselves, making the changes that will empower us to become greater and perhaps reach our greatest potential. Transformation is what takes place in us before we arrive into a new state of being, dimensionally, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. We undergo these transitions when we are faced with major growing pains or life challenges. So stay focused on the solution all the way through to the final outcome until you achieve your desire and express appreciation or gratitude. To create your ideal life, focus your attention where you want your life to be. And when you are certain about what you really want and not attached to the outcome or the vehicle that gets you there, you'll be less likely to undermine your own success and become inspired by your motivation. The more detached we are to the outcome and how the mechanics unfold, the more effective and at peace we are in the journey to trust and get to the destination. We need to remember the significance of our life is more centered on the journey than it is the destination, because the journey is meant to shape and grow us. So let go of control or how it transpires and anticipate the excitement and magic of how it will materialize. Change is the essence of life. Be willing to surrender what you are for what you could become. And as long as you are living according to your heart-centered values, you will materialize from that same calibration.
Letting go doesn't mean giving up, for we cannot heal and awaken until we learn the art of surrendering. It means letting go of our past misfortunes and allowing it to transform us. We must give up control to gain self-mastery. For example, many of us are afraid of love and consequently may not know how to let love in. We may be afraid of being vulnerable and letting go of control. These are insecurities caused by pride and lack of self-love, rather than accepting that hurt is meant to crack our heart open to greater self-love, so we are no longer at the mercy of waiting for others to love and accept us. If one will but let go, there's nothing scary or ugly about love and intimacy. Conversely, it is nothing but beautiful, healing, and empowering. The art of surrendering calls for an immense amount of faith and trust in the process of letting go. Faith is stepping out into the unknown, despite our fears. Fear has long made a mockery of faith. Faith is more than a belief. It is acting on a belief. And you can only achieve what you believe you can. Letting go is allowing yourself to free fall, which doesn't come easy. The only way to get through it is to go through it by letting go of fear and allow your wings to take flight. A young bird has to free fall to learn how to spread its wings to fly. Letting go also prevents us from attaching to people or things in an unhealthy way, which will enable us to eliminate our codependent behaviors and attachment disorders. There's a fine line between dysfunction and self-mastery. In order to overcome illusion, we must first unbury illusion. There are many layers to go through when healing, such as peeling the layers of an onion. You may linger in some of these healing stages in the PANACEA model for a while other stages you may glide through very quickly, depending on individual strengths and weaknesses from default programming in particular situations. Embrace the journey and succumb to the deeper layers of your emotions, as each will lead you one step closer to your soul and generational healing. When reaching to a deeper level, we can find the emotional origin that causes unrest in our day-to-day life. Like weeds, core issues need to be pulled up by the roots. Otherwise, they'll keep coming up over and over again.
As you can see, the journey to healing is not a passive decision. Nevertheless, it is a rewarding one for those who truly deserve it. When making changes, it is imperative to not only be patient, but to note that when making any progress, it is a step-by-step process. Be realistic and patient with yourself. It can take time to see tangible results and the fruits of your labor. Making positive changes in our life can bring us into unfamiliar territory, adding a new set of challenges. And if you're familiar with the expression, we often say, a new level, a new devil. But if you stay true to it, transformation and self-mastery is a promise. So remember, stay focused on the solution. The story of how the caterpillar transforms into the butterfly has long been used as a metaphor for the process of expanding consciousness from one dimension to the next, and for good reason. The caterpillar undergoes a deep transformative experience that few fail to fully appreciate. Renowned evolution biologist and futurist Elizabeth Sahtouris does well at describing the biological steps of the butterfly transformation. Here, it will benefit us to revisit this phenomenon. So let's fully explore the story of how the caterpillar morphs into a butterfly.
A caterpillar can eat up to 300 times its own weight in a day, devastating many plants in the process, continuing to eat and overindulge in it until it is so bloated that it hangs itself up and goes to sleep, while digesting itself by releasing enzymes to dissolve all of its tissues. This bloating causes the caterpillar to outgrow its skin, where it must harden and shed, spinning a silky and protective casing known as a chrysalis, but commonly referred to as a cocoon. This is symbolic of us shedding old identities and unwanted behaviors we begin to outgrow. Then, within the chrysalis, in the body of the dormant caterpillar, it radically transforms from one insect into an entirely new kind of creature, as the butterfly starts to form. The crisis of overeating, fatigue, and breakdown allows the caterpillar's skin to harden, developing a chrysalis, beginning the metamorphosis process. In about 14 days of this struggle, the transformation is complete. The adult caterpillar, now butterfly, struggles to push its way through a tiny opening of the chrysalis, pushing the fluid out of its body and into its wings so they can expand. The butterfly is supposed to struggle. Without the struggle, the butterfly would never be able to fly. Instead, it would emerge from the chrysalis with a swollen body and shriveled wings, and may either die or spend the rest of its life crawling around instead of flying and pollinating. If the eclosion process is interrupted or damaged in any way, it will result in a deformed butterfly. Please feel free to click the link of the metamorphosis process to watch the entire video. Once the butterfly is free, it pumps life into its new wings and can take flight. No longer confined to a limited form, the butterfly now has a new purpose and can soar to new heights. What once contributed to the destruction of plant life from overconsumption, the butterfly now can mate and do its part to contribute to the earth by reproducing to ensure the survival of the next generation, and pollinating plants to bring forth food and new life. From mass consumption to mass contribution, it went from surviving to thriving. So perhaps you can see why this metaphor is very relatable to humanity's transformation.
Biological processes are often very helpful in giving a model for what describes our inner experience. This best describes a felt sense of how our psyches change or how our consciousness outgrows the diets or thoughts of yesterday. One can't eat any more of the same old ways of thinking. To view the animated video of the complete butterfly life cycle, visit the link in your workbook.